I am so excited to have Zach Holdsworth back here on the podcast to talk about the upcoming Hint Summit in Denver, Colorado. Welcome to the podcast again, Zach.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So it's so exciting this time of year because we are all looking for plane tickets. We're all renting hotel rooms because we are so excited to be in person. So I want to start off with Hint Summit. Can you tell us when and where is it going to be?
So this year, Hint Summit is June 7th through 9th at the RealWorks studio in Denver, Colorado. We have our DPC Accelerator program on the 7th. The opening party is going to be on the 7th, and then we've got 2 days of content on the Wednesday and the Thursday, the 8th and 9th, and the after party is going to be at the Red Rocks Stadium, which is going to be pretty cool.
It's incredible. And I remember when you announced that, and then we had this amazing pandemic. And so I'm so excited that it's coming to fruition. We're finally going to be there.
Totally.
Now, I want to go into a deep dive into each day so that people have a feel as to what Hint Summit is and what they can envision when they go. So you mentioned the DPC Accelerator Bootcamp. Can you tell us a little bit about what is DPC Accelerator in general, and how is the bootcamp an event not to miss?
Yeah, totally. One thing I'll say is, historically, Hint Summit has been kind of more about kind of pushing the boundaries of DPC and DPC innovation, and that is still the case. We still, that's still the goal. But some of the feedback we had gotten historically was, hey, we'd love to have a little bit more content around getting started in DPC. And so what we've actually decided to do is at Hint, we actually have a program called DPC Accelerator, which is a kind of an educational community sort of courses designed to help DPC providers accelerate their clinics all the way from getting started through to growth. So what we're doing with DPC Accelerator is having a half day of content. We're bringing in really awesome physicians and marketing experts and legal experts and people that will help, sort of thinking about how to get set up with DPC and then how to accelerate your clinic success. And so that'll be a half day content specifically around the nuts and bolts of DPC.
And that's wonderful. And I know that Lauren Tancredi, who's going to be leading that, is very passionate about making sure that the attendees to DPC Accelerator Bootcamp will be able to put into play the strategies that they learn right away. So it's actionable strategies that people will be learning from all these different experts, which is great.
Yeah, I think it's one of the hidden gems of DPC is the DPC Accelerator. I think there's a lot of great opportunity there for people that are wanting to get into DPC.
Awesome. And especially for Hint customers who might be listening, I just want to throw a shout out to Lauren because she does host DPC Accelerator classes as well as office hours regularly. So go onto your Hint platform and you can check out what those DPC Accelerator courses have looked like in the past to get a feel for how amazing the content is.
And the word on the street is, talking to Lauren, is that Marielle is one of the star students in the DPC Accelerator program. So
definitely guilty. It's amazing to show up and to learn and then to, again, put those strategies into play in your own practice. So I definitely encourage everyone to check it out. Now, in terms of the first official day of the summit, separate from the DPC Accelerator Bootcamp, can you tell us a little bit about what to expect on June 8th?
Yeah, well, so high level, the way I tend to think about Hint Summit is we try to make an experience, right? We want people to have a really great time, get to know other people, really interesting, different thought leadership and content that is both within DPC and out of it. And we also like to have cool parties and entertain people. So the opening party, which we shouldn't miss, is actually on the 7th, on the Tuesday, and it's actually at the Denver train station, which is an absolutely epic, like an iconic building. So make sure you don't miss the opening party. But on the first day, we're going to have more of a focus on industry and kind of physician matters and kind of growth within DPC. And so we've got, we're actually opening up with Robert Pell, who's actually going to be doing a really interesting keynote. I won't kind of spoil it, but he's a great orator. We're then going to be having a bunch of different talks. One of the first talks actually is our head of data analytics at Hint is going to be on stage with a couple of doctors, and we're actually going to be sharing our industry research on growth trends in DPC. There's that report's actually going to be announced and released pre-summit, but we're going to be doing a summary overview. Then we're going to have a bunch of talks on getting into DPC. There's going to be, talks on practicing authenticity, biases in direct care, pushing the boundaries. We've actually got the current president of the DPC Alliance, Lance Lassie, who's actually going to be doing a talk on pushing the boundaries in DPC. Then we're going to have Lauren doing a talk on setting boundaries. So there's some interesting counter perspectives there, but I actually think there'll be a lot of synergy in those talks. Then we're going to have a talk from two gentlemen, Bib Beal and Dr. Adam Wheeler, on innovative growth strategies in DPC. So these are two examples of business leaders and physicians who have figured out how to really scale their model, and they're going to be sharing some of their kind of tips and tricks and kind of how they've gone about building their business. And then we're going to be having a keynote from Major Reagan Steegman, who's a flight surgeon, recently retired flight surgeon in the military, in the Air Force. And she's just super inspirational speaker and going to be sharing her leadership journey and kind of insights from her journey over the last 10 years. And then finally, per the kind of point I made earlier on in terms of bringing in just totally off the wall talks that have nothing to do with DPC. I'm actually going to be doing a fireside chat with Daniel Schmachtenberger, who is this just fascinating, really interesting kind of what I consider a modern day philosopher. And we're actually going to be talking about some of the existential threats to humanity. And you may have recently seen him on Z-Dog's podcast. So I'm going to be doing a session with him. And they're going to be having an appetizers and drinks after that. And there'll be a bunch of networking, there'll be a bunch of breaks, lunch, and everything. So that's day one. Cool.
And I love that just from the get-go with the DPC Accelerator, really teaching people how to build their practices and grow their practices and excel as a DPC doctor. Then it goes immediately into the trends and into how to envision yourself and your practice through the words and experiences of DPC physicians as well as industry experts. So I think that's awesome.
That's great.
And then you mentioned the opening party. What's happening the evening of June 8th?
So June 8th is really just an opportunity for people to go out and connect with folks that are going to be there, getting dinners. It's really a free evening. So we haven't actually slotted in anything formal outside of the drinks and appetizers. But what we find is that often people break away into different groups and form friendships and go and have dinner with each other and just really just connect with other people that they haven't really had the time to properly connect with, given that there's so much action-packed content. And the networking is pretty intense as well, because you know 20, 30 minutes and it blows by, sessions blow by pretty fast.
And you've shared before how even during networking sessions at Hint Summit, you've had people report that they've met the most meaningful relationships business-wise with other people through the networking that goes on at Hint Summit. And so, the people who are considering going, I definitely would say that networking, when you're around people focused on DPC on the everyday basis, DPC looking at trends, innovation in the DPC space, I definitely would say the networking, it is one of the hugest draws, especially for me, when I look at the Hint Summit as to why people should go in person.
Yeah, the way I tend to think about it is just, if you bring great people together, create a really awesome experience for them, you give them the opportunity to have those shared experiences, then you actually build friendships as well. So, a lot of the friendships I have in the community actually come from meeting people in Summit as well. And so I look forward to seeing lots of old friends as well.
Awesome. Now, going into June 9th, what can we expect on June 9th?
Yeah, so after the breakfast and networking, June 9th is going to be now sort of a little bit looking forward, right? A little bit more pushing the boundaries. So we're going to have sessions from some of our partners in the e-prescribing and employer space. The Primary Health Partners is going to be doing a session with Northwind. We've got a really interesting collaboration with the AAFP, one of our partners, Elation, and doctors, just around the importance of peer-reviewed studies in DPC. We've got the former founder of Heal Health doing a talk on the keynote on kind of the private practice of the future. So this is a guy that's raised a ton of money from investors and built a couple of really successful businesses, and he's on to a new one right now, which will be a DPC-focused business. We're going to be having Matt Walsher, who's the founder of Plume Health, doing a talk on the idea of virtual DPC offerings for underserved communities and minorities, which is going to be really interesting. We're going to be having a really interesting, I don't want to announce it now, but it's going to be a really exciting announcement at Summit from one of the very large DPC players in the space. And then I'm going to be doing a keynote. I'll be sharing some interesting announcements as well and exciting kind of news about Hint and kind of the direction we're heading. And we'll likely pull a few of my key executives up to talk with them about our vision and where we're heading as a business. Then what we're going to do after lunch and networking, and there's a couple of networking sessions prior to that as well, we actually got the innovation panel with tech CEOs. So we've got the CEO of Atlassian, the CEO of Spruce, CEO of a new startup, Fold Health, and we're going to be, the healthcare IT report is actually going to be doing a fireside kind of panel with them. So it'll be super interesting. And that's just really around like innovations in healthcare and pushing the boundaries from a technology perspective. And then we also will be having a session with the founders and CEOs of innovative health plans and benefits, innovative health plans and TPAs that are wanting to integrate DPC into what they're doing. They're wanting to actually figure out ways to collaborate with DPCs. So our head of network development, Beth, is going to be doing a fireside chat with the founders of Decent, Poppins, and Flume Health, so 3 really interesting venture-backed companies. And then we're going to be having a session with Adam Berkowitz, who's a broker that is doing a lot of work with DPCs. And he's going to be doing a talk on how partnering with local employers to serve communities is going to be really interesting. And then to finish off the day, again, back to this theme of trying to bring in content and ideas that had nothing to do with DPC or even in some cases healthcare. I'm actually bringing in a really good friend of mine, Sean Gurley, who is one of the, I'd say, world leaders in artificial intelligence. And he's actually going to be, he's a TED fellow, he's a Rhodes Scholar, raised a ton of money from venture capitalists, works with DARPA and a bunch of like pretty interesting groups. And he's going to be doing a keynote on the world of artificial intelligence. And this is a guy you'd see at TED. So really interesting, and it'll be authentic, original content that is literally cutting edge. He typically cuts his talks a few days before he does them. So it's the latest in AI. So that'll be finishing off the second day. And then after, to wrap it all up, we're going to be all jumping on party buses, for those of you who buy tickets to the after party, going to the absolutely epic Red Rock Stadium, which is one of the world leading, it's one of the iconic stages of potentially in the world. And we'll be having an after party in a private room overlooking a Pink Floyd cover band, one of the top Pink Floyd cover bands. So we're gonna, for those of you Pink Floyd fans, and like everyone's a fan of at least one of their songs, there'll be a pretty cool after party. And at that after party, we have Dr. Kenneth Q is going to be doing for the students who aren't able to make it, because this is Sam in the middle of the week for them. We'll be doing a live stream of the after party, interviewing key members of the Hint Summit and people who have been speaking or attending Hint Summit, and doing a little bit of a live stream from the after party. So that would be a wrap after that.
So exciting. And I just love that touch there on incorporating medical students and residents in the Hint Summit, or if they're not able to attend in person. So that is wonderful.
Yeah. Just a bit of a shout out, if you are a student and you want to come, we've got a limited number of available free tickets for medical students. The medical students are the future of healthcare, and we want to be trying to integrate them into this community and this movement as early as possible. So, if you're interested, please get a ticket.
Wonderful. And when we're talking about tickets, can you give people who are not medical students and residents an idea as to what kinds of tickets are available and how much does it cost to attend?
So the tickets, it's $549 for the summit plus the opening party. If you're a Hint customer, there's a $100 discount. So it's $449. And I believe that, Marielle, you've got a special code, your community. So do you want to tell them about that?
Yes. So if you are not a Hint customer yet and you are looking for $100 off of the ticket price, you can definitely save $100 with the code MyDPCStory100. So type that in at checkout and you can get $100 off that way as well.
And just to be clear, that includes food. And if you want to come to the after party, you just really have to pay for the ticket essentially to the band. So it's a $99 entrance fee. But the food and everything that we'll be sponsoring that's if you want to go to the after party.
And for registration, where do people go to buy tickets and to register for Hint Summit?
So you can just go to summit.hint.com and click on register. If you also just go to hint.com, then there'll be a banner saying go to Hint Summit.
And Zach, before we close, is there anything else you want to share about Hint Summit this year?
Yeah, so just I think anyone wants to get any tickets to any of those events, whether it be the DPC Accelerator, the event itself, if you want to just show up to the opening party, if you want to go to the closing party, or if you want to go to the live stream of the after party with Dr. Q, then go to summit.hint.com and click register, and all those options will show up there, and you can kind of pick and choose what you want to do.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Zach, for joining us today.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing you in person, and I'm super excited and honored that you're going to be our MC along with Dr. Flanagan this year.
Awesome. See you there,
Yeah.
Zach.
Cheers. Thanks so much. See you there.